क्वेश्चंस पे। एज पर द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लेजिस्लेचर ऑफ द स्टेट कंसिस्ट, देखिए इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अकॉर्डिंग लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड गवर्नर लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल वेयर इट एग्जिस्ट। कहीं कहीं लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल नहीं रहता है और कहीं कहीं लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल रहता है। स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर एज पर आर्टिकल 168 ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कंसिस्ट ऑफ गवर्नर, लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल विधानसभा, लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली विधानसभा, लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल विधान परिषद। इफ स्टेट इज ए बाइकैमरल स्टेट विथ बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर, जैसे तेलंगाना, उत्तर प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश और बिहार। इन स्टेट विथ यूनिकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर ओनली द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली एंड गवर्नर एग्जिस्ट। ठीक है। विच इज द अपर चैम्बर ऑफ लेजिस्लेचर्स इन इंडिया? तो लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल, आर्टिकल 169। In legislative council विधान परिषद is the upper house while the legislative assembly विधान सभा is the lower house. The legislative council is similar to Rajya Sabha at the state level. It is a permanent body with 1/3 member retiring every 2 years. Legislative assembly is subject to dissolve every 5 years. Which article of Indian Constitution provide provision for विधान परिषद in state? आर्टिकल 171। देखिए 171 स्पेसिफाइज कंपोजिशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल। आर्टिकल 169 अलाउज क्रिएशन एंड और एबोलिशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल बाय पार्लियामेंट बाय रेजोल्यूशन बाय स्टेट असेंबली। स्टेट असेंबली के रेजोल्यूशन से पार्लियामेंट उसको बना सकती है या डिसॉल्व कर सकती है। आर्टिकल 170 डील्स विद द कंपोजिशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली। आर्टिकल 172 रिलेट्स टू ड्यूरेशन ऑफ स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर 5। आर्टिकल 173 स्पेसिफाइज क्वालिफिकेशन फॉर मेंबरशिप ऑफ स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर। क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ मेंबरशिप ऑफ स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर। What is the right method to establish the 170 composition of legislative assembly, 171 legislative council, 172 relate the duration of legislatures 5 years. 173 specifies qualification for membership of the state legislature. What is the right method to establish or cancel the second chamber in states? तो देखिए proposal in legislative assembly with full majority along with law passed by parliament। तो इससे क्या होगा, या तो बनेगा या तो बिगड़ेगा, मतलब खत्म होगा। As per Article 169, the legislative assembly of a state can pass a resolution by special majority not less than 2/3 of members present and voting to create or abolish the लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल। फिर क्या होगा, पार्लियामेंट में अप्रूव द प्रपोजल थ्रू लॉ। इट इज नॉट द डायरेक्ट पावर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, इट नीड्स ए प्रायर स्टेट रेजोल्यूशन। ठीक। अब पार्लियामेंट में उसके लिए सिंपल मेजोरिटी चाहिए कि सिंपल मेजोरिटी से ही हो जाता होगा, 1 मिनट देख लिया जाता है। हाँ, पार्लियामेंट जो होता है वो सिंपल मेजोरिटी से करता है। ठीक, सिंपल मेजोरिटी से। ठीक। विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग लेजिस्लेटिव हाउसेज कैन बी एबोलिश्ड? कौन सा एबोलिश? विधान परिषद जो है वो एबोलिश किया जा सकता है, लेकिन ये तीनों एबोलिश नहीं किए जा सकते। लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल विधान परिषद इन स्टेट कैन बी एबोलिश्ड एज पर आर्टिकल 169 इफ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली पास ए रेजोल्यूशन विद बाय स्पेशल मेजोरिटी फॉलोड बाय पार्लियामेंट्री अप्रूवल विद सिंपल मेजोरिटी। राज्यसभा इज परमानेंट, कांट बी एबोलिश्ड। लोकसभा एंड विधानसभा आर एसेंशियल फॉर गवर्नेंस, हेंस कांट बी एबोलिश्ड। आर्टिकल 169 के तहत ये एबोलिश किया जा सकता है। In any state of India, legislative council can be created or abolished by the parliament as per resolution passed by legislative assembly of the state. As per Article 169, the creation or abolition of legislative council requires a special majority resolution passed by legislative assembly of the state, approval through parliamentary legislation with simple majority. देखिए पार्लियामेंट एलोन कांट डिसाइड विदाउट द स्टेट असेंबली रेजोल्यूशन, ठीक। तो इस वजह से प्रोसीजर इस्टेब्लिश्ड बाय लॉ फॉलो करना पड़ेगा। आर्टिकल 169 डेमोन्स्ट्रेट द फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन टू अकोमोडेट रीजनल रिक्वायरमेंट। लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल विधान परिषद ऑफन सीन एज डेलिबरेटिव एंड एडवाइजरी बॉडी। स्टेट लाइक तमिलनाडु एंड वेस्ट बंगाल abolished their councils, citing redundancy मतलब खर्चा अधिक था। राज्यसभा एंड विधान परिषद बोथ आर अपर हाउसेस बट डिफर इन पावर्स एंड रोल्स। राज्यसभा हैज इक्वल लेजिस्लेटिव पावर एक्सेप्ट इन मनी बिल्स, while the Vidhan Parishad is mostly advisory. Which one of the following articles of the Indian Constitution the Legislative Assembly is allowed to resolve for the creation of Legislative Council? तो आर्टिकल 169 मतलब क्रिएशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल, क्रिएशन या एबोलिशन। Creation or abolition, Article 169 deal with creation or abolition of legislative council, Vidhan Parishad in states. If it states that Parliament may by law provide for creation or abolition of the legislative council if the legislative assembly of the concerned state passes a resolution by special majority, not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting. Article 168 specifies the constitution of state legislative assembly and council. Article 170 deal with composition of legislative assembly. 171 deal with composition of legislative council. 169 special providing for creation abolition of the council. The provisions for creation and abolition of legislative councils in any state is included in Indian Constitution through Article 169. Article 169 specifically empowers the Parliament to create or abolish the Legislative Council of a state upon a resolution passed by state legislative assembly with special majority or Parliament approve करेगा with simple majority. Article 170 deals with composition of legislative assembly. Article 171 deal with ये की मतलब विधान परिषद. Article 168 provides for constitution of legislature in states. Provides for constitution of legislatures in state. Article 167 relates to duties of chief minister regarding information to the governor. 169 directly relates to council creation या abolition. Procedure for creation of legislative council in state has been described in which article of the Constitution? Article 169 में. Article 169 of the Indian Constitution explicitly states that procedure for creation of or abolition of state legislative councils requires a special majority resolution from the Legislative Assembly, subsequently parliamentary approval. Article 368 deal with power of Parliament to amend the Constitution. Article 69 related to oath of Vice President. Article 269 levy and collection of taxes. Article 169 as it deal with legislative councils. Which of the following statement about resolution adopted by State Assembly under Article 169 of the Constitution of India for abolition of State Legislative Council is correct? तो है it does not impose an obligation on the Union government to take action for initiating legislature in parliament. तो देखिए, as per Article 69, the resolution by the legislative assembly does not mandate parliament to take such action. ठीक, the union government is not obligated to introduce legislation based on the state resolution. The resolution only authorizes parliament to take action if it chooses to. मतलब ये इनिशिएट नहीं कर सकती, जब भेजेगा स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर तब उस पर क्या कर सकती है, अप्रूवल दे सकती है सिंपल मेजोरिटी से. With reference to the composition of legislative council in a state of India, which of the following statement is correct? With reference to the composition of legislative council. With reference to the composition of legislative council in a state of India, which of the following statement is correct? In the legislative council, there may not be more than 1/3 of the total membership of legislative assembly of that state. बिल्कुल सही. Legislative council of a state must have at least 40 members in it. ये भी सही है. Article 171 क्या कहता है? The maximum strength of the legislative council can't exceed 1/3 of the total strength of the legislative assembly. The minimum number of members in the council should be 40. Legislative council is a political issue. Some states like Andhra Pradesh have re-established councils, while states like West Bengal has abolished them, citing redundancy and financial burden. Councils are often viewed as providing a platform for intellectuals and experienced legislators. Special majority concept used in Article 169 requires 2/3 of the members present and voting, which is crucial for significant legislative changes. It differs from a simple majority, where more than half of members present and voting are required. So the Legislative Council acts more as a deliberative body, and its role in financial matters is negligible compared to Legislative Assembly. This structure draws parallel to the bicameral nature of Indian Parliament, where Rajya Sabha is upper house. Consider the following statement. The Legislative Council of a state in India can be larger in size than half of the Legislative Assembly of that. नहीं, 1/3 से कम ही रहना चाहिए. The governor of a state nominate the chairman of legislative council of that particular state. नहीं भाई, वो लोग खुद अपने इलेक्ट करते हैं. Article 171 of the Indian Constitution specifies that the total number of members in the legislative council shall not exceed 1/3 and total number of the total number of members in the legislative assembly. Hence, the council can't be larger than half of the assembly. As per Article 182, the chairman and deputy chairman of legislative council are elected by its members. The chairman and deputy chairman. As per Article 182, the chairman and deputy chairman of legislative council are elected by its members. Chairman और deputy chairman जो होते हैं वो उनके members द्वारा elect होते हैं. The governor does not nominate the chairman. How many members are nominated in Legislative Council in Uttar Pradesh by State Governor? 1/6. By State Governor, अरे 1/6 होते हैं ना शायद. अच्छा, 1/10 1/6 होते हैं सर. अच्छा चलिए कोई नहीं. According to 171(3), after considering the given electorates, the remainder nominated members shall be nominated by governor from among persons having special knowledge or practical experience. in fields such as literature, science, arts, cooperative movement, and social service. UP in Legislative Council has 100 members and 10 members are nominated by Governor. एक बार पूछ लिया जाए. Governor appoint how many members in UP विधान परिषद. एक बार पूछ लिया जाए. 10 मेंबर्स यानी कि 1/10. ठीक है, 100 मेंबर हैं तो उनमें से 10 लोगों को वो करते हैं, लेकिन यार 1/3 ही तो होना चाहिए. अलग अलग कंपोजिशन है. द नंबर ऑफ नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर्स ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल इज अलग अलग जगहों पे अलग अलग है. ठीक, कहीं 1/3 है, कहीं 1/4 है, कहीं 1/6 है. अभी देखिए यूपी में 1/10 है. एज पर आर्टिकल 171(5) द नंबर ऑफ नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर by the governor is 1/10 of the total members of legislative council. 1/10. कहीं 1/6 भी है. अब देखते हैं व्हाट इज करेक्ट अबाउट स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल. एक मिनट इसको देख लिया जाए. देखिए 1/3 MLA चूज करते हैं. ठीक, 1/12 टीचर्स, 1/12 ग्रेजुएट्स. ठीक, व्हाट इज द करेक्ट अबाउट स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल. इट टेन्यूर 6 years. सही है. इट इज ए परमानेंट हाउस. हाँ, इट कांट बी डिसॉल्व. हाँ, 1/6 members are 1/6 members are elected by 1/3. 1/6 member are elected by legislative assembly. नहीं, 1/3. Every 2 years 1/3. ठीक है. डिप्टी गवर्नर इज डिप्टी गवर्नर ही. द टेन्योर ऑफ इट्स मेंबर इज 6 years. हाँ, सही है. अब देखते हैं टेन्योर. द लेजिस्लेटिव मेंबर सर्व फॉर 6 years. 1/3 member retire every year. परमानेंट हाउस. इट इज़ ए परमानेंट बॉडी एंड कांट बी डिसॉल्व, सिमिलर टू राज्यसभा. ठीक, election and nominations 1/3 by MLAs, 1/3 by local bodies, municipality or district board, 1/12 elected by teachers of secondary school, 1/12 elected by graduates from constituencies, 1/6 nominated by governor. लेकिन यूपी में 1 बाई ये कंपोजिशन अलग जगहों पे अलग अलग है. द चेयरमैन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल इज इलेक्टेड फ्रॉम एमंग इट्स मेंबर्स, नॉट बाय डिप्टी गवर्नर. डिप्टी गवर्नर नहीं सेलेक्ट करते हैं. ठीक, परमानेंट नेचर ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल. द काउंसिल कांट बी डिसॉल्व्ड व्हिच इंश्योर्स कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव वर्क. द स्टेगर्ड रिटायरमेंट इंश्योर्स एक्सपीरियंस्ड मेंबर्स ऑलवेज रिमेन पार्ट ऑफ द हाउस. The method of election emphasized a blend of direct and indirect representation, reflecting federal spirit. Special knowledge nomination. Governor's nominations reflect intellectual and professional diversity required for deliberative function. Representation and federalism. While legislative assembly directly represent the people, council offer a platform for intellectual debates. This structure reflects the Rajya Sabha Lok Sabha model at state level, with the council acting as a revising chamber. Both are permanent houses and can't be dissolved. 1/3 member retire every 2 years. Unlike Rajya Sabha, Legislative Council lacks significant powers over money bills and significant matters. ठीक है. Article 169 empowers Parliament to create or abolish the Legislative Council after a special resolution by State Legislative Assembly. Reflects flexibility of the Constitution in accommodating regional aspiration. Article 171 defines composition of the council and ensures that it remains a limited size body in comparison to assembly. Encourages the inclusion of professional and experts through nomination by governor. role of chairman similar to speaker of the assembly, and chairman of the council maintains order and discipline. The deputy chairman assists and assumes duty of chairman's absence. The members of a state legislative council are not chosen by which of the following categories of person. ये चूज करते हैं members of the local bodies and पंचायत 1/3, teachers 1/3, ग्रेजुएट नहीं टीचर्स 1/12, ग्रेजुएट भी 1/12, इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट नहीं चूज करते हैं. ठीक. स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल विधान परिषद हैज ए यूनिक कंपोजिशन एज पर आर्टिकल 171(3). Members are chosen from following categories: 1/3 MLAs, elected by MLAs; 1/3 local bodies, municipality and panchayat; 1/12 elected by teachers of at least secondary schools; 1/12 elected by graduates from constituencies; 1/6 nominated by governors from persons having special knowledge in literature, science, arts, social services, etc. Industrialists are not a specific category for election. ठीक है. Which one of the following can't be dissolved but can be abolished? तो विधान परिषद आर्टिकल 169. State legislative councils. Legislative councils are permanent bodies like Rajya Sabha and can't be dissolved. However, they can be abolished by Parliament as per Article 169 if State Legislative Assembly passes a resolution with special majority. और फिर वो पार्लियामेंट क्या करे, सिंपल मेजोरिटी के साथ लॉ बना दे. लोकसभा and state legislative assemblies can be dissolved after 5 years or earlier by governor या president. Rajya Sabha is permanent and can't be abolished or dissolved. What is the tenure of a member of a state legislative council? 6 years. Member of legislative council serve a term of 6 years. 1/3 of the member retire every 2 years, similar to Rajya Sabha. This ensures continuity as a council is a permanent body. Which one of the following states of India does not have a legislative council, so even though the Constitution 7th Amendment Act provides for it? महाराष्ट्र में है, बिहार में है, कर्नाटक में है, लेकिन मध्य प्रदेश में नहीं है. As per 7th Amendment Act 1956 comes some states were given the options to have bicameral legislation. Currently only 6 states have legislative councils: UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana. Madhya Pradesh does not have a legislative council. Which of the following states does not have a bicameral legislation? Which of the following? तमिलनाडु है, उत्तर प्रदेश है, कर्नाटक है, कर्नाटक नहीं है, कर्नाटक है, तमिलनाडु नहीं है, तेलंगाना में है, बिहार, उत्तर तमिलनाडु नहीं है. Bicameral means having 2 houses, legislative assembly and legislative council. State with bicameral legislation: UP, Maharashtra, तेलंगाना, उत्तर प्रदेश, मुंबई, कैसे कर्नाटक, ऐसे आंध्र प्रदेश, बी से बिहार. In which of the following states legislative council does not exist? राजस्थान में नहीं एग्जिस्ट करती है. Which one of the following states does not have bicameral legislature? कर्नाटक में है, मध्य प्रदेश में नहीं है. Legislative councils are permanent bodies like legislature, unlike मतलब legislative assembly तो 5 साल पे डिजॉल्व हो जाती है, लेकिन ये नहीं. They are not subject of dissolution similar to Rajya Sabha. However, they can be abolished by Parliament if the state assembly passes a resolution. ये abolish किया जा सकता है. Argument for and against councils. अब देखिए, for act as a revisory body, provides platform for intellectual and professional input. Against, seen as burden on the accuser. मतलब जो वित्त है हमारे उस पे, फाइनेंसेस पे बोझ है, ये माना जाता है. Often used for political rehabilitation rather than genuine deliberation. Similar to House of Lords UK, but the Legislative Council has limited legislative powers compared to House of Commons. The US Senate and House of Representatives model also reflect bicameral, but in Indian state bicameralism is not universal. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर जगह ही रहेगा स्टेट्स में. Why some states do not have councils? Financial constraint. Maintaining an additional house is costly. Efficiency issues. States prefer streamlined legislative process. देखिए हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट, सम स्टेट लाइक तमिलनाडु एबॉलिश लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल एज इट वाज सीन एज रिडेंडेंट. लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स एग्जिस्ट इन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेट्स? सिर्फ बिहार में, इन सब में सिर्फ बिहार में. लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल एग्जिस्ट ओनली इन 6 स्टेट्स. मतलब तुम कब तेलंगाना, यूपी, मध्य महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटक, आंध्र प्रदेश और बिहार. हाउ मेनी रीऑर्गेनाइज्ड स्टेट्स हैड बाइकैमरल लेजिस्लेचर्स इन 1956? 1956 में कितने लोगों के पास था? तो उसमें था 10 लोगों के पास, 10 स्टेट्स के पास. किसके पास? After the State Reorganization Act 1956, 7 out of 14 states had bicameral legislations. जैसे यूपी, बिहार, बॉम्बे, मद्रास, मैसूर, पंजाब, वेस्ट बंगाल. लेटर सम लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स वेयर एबोलिश्ड. कुछ एबोलिश कर दिया गया, जैसे वेस्ट बंगाल, पंजाब, तमिलनाडु का. इन तीनों का क्या कर दिया गया? एबोलिश कर दिया गया. According to the Article 170, the Indian Constitution, the minimum and maximum strength of members of the Legislative Assembly in a state can be respectively. देखिए मैक्सिमम 500 रहने चाहिए और मिनिमम जो है 60 रहने चाहिए. लेकिन 32 हैं सिक्किम में और पुडुचेरी में 33. ये थोड़ा सा वो है मामला. आर्टिकल 170 डील विद कंपोजिशन ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. मिनिमम 60 मेंबर्स, मैक्सिमम 50 मेंबर्स. लेकिन सिक्किम में कितने हैं? 32 हैं. अब गोवा में 40 हैं. गोवा में 40 हैं. अब देख एक बार इसको भी कंफर्म कर लिया जाए. बाइकैमरल legislatures in states in 1956. Which one of the following states is an exception to the provision of Article 170 which says that the state legislative assembly of a state shall consist of not less than 60 members? तो ये है सिक्किम. सिक्किम में कितने? 32 मेंबर्स हैं. गोवा भी एक्सेप्शन ही है. आर्टिकल 171 स्टेट द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली मस्ट हैव एटलीस्ट 60 members. सिक्किम हैज 32 members in its legislative assembly as per article 371F. जम्मू कश्मीर में 107 + 24. हरियाणा में 90 हैं शायद. The Constitution of India provides that Legislative Assembly of each state shall consist of not more than 450 members chosen by direct election. नहीं 450 नहीं 500. A person shall not be qualified to fill a seat of Legislative Assembly of a state if she is less than 25 years of age. सही है. As of Article 170 mentioned in maximum 500 members, not 450. Article 173 mandates the person must be at least 25 years of age to be a member of Legislative Assembly. What can be the maximum number of members in Legislative Assembly of states? 500. As per Article 170, maximum strength of Legislative Assembly is 500. This ensures the large state can have adequate representation. Which of the following article of Indian Constitution consists of the provision of election of Legislative Assembly of states? Article 170. Article 170 deals with composition of election of members of Legislative Assembly through direct elections of the territorial constituency. 176 special address by governor. 178 deal with Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Legislative Assembly. Evolution of bicameral legislature. Initially, more states had bicameral structures, but many councils were abolished due to redundancy and cost. Currently, 6 states retain legislative councils reflecting regional political choices. Abolition of council in states like West Bengal, Punjab, and Tamil Nadu shows the dynamic nature of state legislative structures. Why maintain bicameralism? Deliberative nature act as revisory chamber, similar to Rajya Sabha. Represent varied interest, including graduates and local bodies. Ensures democratic representation by defining the size of the assembly. Article 170. Flexibility for a smaller state like Sikkim ensures practical governance. Minimum age of 25 years for assembly members emphasize maturity and responsibility in legislature roles. What is the minimum age limiting prescribed membership of Legislative Assembly? 25. As per Article 173B of the Indian Constitution, minimum age required to be a member of Legislative Assembly is 25 years. For the Legislative Council, the minimum is 30 years. The age requirement ensures that member possesses certain maturity experience to handle legislative responsibilities. 18 year voting age है, ठीक. 21 years this age applies for being elected as municipal council और पंचायत मेंबर. ठीक है, ये है. तो यहाँ हम लोगों का 30 क्वेश्चंस खत्म होते हैं, बाकी अगले मिलते हैं. थैंक यू, बाय बाय.